What's the pettiest reason you have boycotted something? Every day for a few years in high school and college, I used to read a particular website that published syndicated op-eds. One day I got there to see they had modernized their layout and I didn't care for it, so I never went back. It's probably been 12 years. Honestly, that's how I feel about Reddit if they take away the go back to old Reddit on desktop. I'll never shop at a Big Y supermarket because one was built where this nice meadow used to be when I lived in Connecticut. I like that meadow. Big Y. Frick you. I'm not insane. I posted pretty much the same thing about CVS. My dad has had a long-standing boycott of Exxon gas stations since the 80s because apparently they used to not give out change for cash purchases after 4 p.m. IDKY, and the cashier refused to give my dad change at 4:01 p.m. after he had waited in line for 5 minutes. He has literally not gone to an Exxon station since then unless it's an emergency and has actually planned out fuel stops on road trips to avoid Exxon. Whole new level of petty. That's pretty sick. The fact that they wouldn't give him the change, not the part about planning. Geico. I requested an online quote from them in March of this year and the next day one of their local offices called me 3 times a day for 2 weeks straight. I even answered the phone twice and told them to stop calling me. The voicemail the woman would leave me when I didn't answer sounded a lot like a collection agent. Like she was doing me a favor by calling me and that I must call them right away to start my insurance with them. She was extremely pushy. I had to leave a negative Yelp and Facebook review to get it to stop. They finally sent me a message saying they would stop calling me and then they contacted Yelp and Facebook to dispute my reviews. 2 weeks ago I got an email from Yelp saying they were removing my review as the owner proved that my review didn't have anything to do with their location. I put it back up with a screenshot of my missed call logs showing their phone number calling me over and over again. This isn't really a petty reason, that's just harassment. Not me, but my dad. He was a smoker for about 50 years. He thinks my cousin, his brother's son, is a complete moron. He lives in Massachusetts and I guess they raise cigarette taxes to support the T. Boston's public transport system. My cousin works for the T. My dad quit smoking because he wasn't giving my cousin any money. His extended lifespan and money saved will sure show them. Hyundai because they offered a $40 gift card if you test drive one of their new vehicles. I took the test drive and dealt with the endless stream of spam and phone calls. Gift cards never arrived. For the same reason I'm never doing any surveys that offer gift cards. At my school, for making a survey you'd get €5 on your school pass, which you could use to print or get coffee. I made the lengthy survey and didn't receive anything. There was a lady with a snack stand on my faculty when I was in college. During my second semester I went there to buy a chocolate, and she told me to take it. I couldn't find it, so she grabbed and gave it to me and told me here they are. Can't you read? It says there, CHOCOLATE. In all my time in college, I never bought anything else from her. Never buying a Kia because ever since I've shown interest they've harassed me like a Mormon in a new city. Between the non-stop calling and emails you'd think I freaking broke up with them over Facebook without a reason. Give me a break. Kia, you've already denied my credit. I briefly boycotted Northern Rail because the conductor tried to issue me a £1,000 fine for travelling without a ticket. I was trying to pay by card and their machines would sometimes decline it if I tried to buy a ticket 2 days in a row. Even though I had the money, the other conductors I travelled with knew about this and would let me pay at the station I got off at, because A, the station was operated by a different company and B, they have a ticket barrier. You can't enter or exit that station without a ticket. But it seemed this guy didn't know about it. And even after I bought a ticket at the station and showed it to the conductor, he still refused to void the fine. When I got a letter from Northern Rail a week or so telling me to pay it, I wrote them back explaining what had happened, attached the ticket and the receipt, and essentially concluding the letter with because of this, I am not paying the fine. That was a good 8+ years ago and I've not heard anything since. I was forced to boycott my favorite restaurant as a child because my father was petty. We had went in an hour prior to closing, and as the waitress was closing up the sections, she vacuumed around my dad's feet. He stood up, gathered us all up and made us leave. We were never allowed to go back, and once I was old enough to take myself, they had shut down. I didn't eat at McDonald's for a long time because they made a huge deal about all day breakfast, and I'm like, but what about the people who want fries at 9 AM? Do we not matter? I remember asking for fries at 9 AM and getting a condescending, "No, this is the breakfast menu. McDonald's sells plenty of good, greasy crap. They don't get to judge my life choices for wanting fries for breakfast." I boycott David's Tea after I applied there for a summer job and got a really weird rejection email, lol. It said something along the lines of, "After reviewing your application, we feel you're just not the right fit for our team's vibe." I've had a few weird job application rejections, but this one took the cake, lol. I never shop there regularly, so they lost a subpar teenage customer. Take that, David's Tea. One time I spent like 4 hours filling out the Match.com entry survey, got to the end and just got a message, "Sorry, there's nobody currently out there for you. Try again later." Didn't even let me sign up. They were right though. Still single, haha. I went to get a haircut at a place I'd never gone to before. I sat down and the lady said, "What happened to your eyebrows? You have a fireworks accident." I got up and walked out and never went there again. I can't ever go back to this one branch of Aldi because my card got declined when I already had my cart full. I am too embarrassed. I won't go to Planet Fitness because I went to check it out before signing up and I overheard some employees talk about how fat someone was, who happened to have my name. I called the manager a few days later just to say that we all talk crap on customers but don't do it so brazenly. He completely dismissed me and immediately started asking me if I'd like to sign up. When I was pregnant, all I wanted was Rally's fries. The closest Rally's was out of the way, so when we were near one, when I was 7 months pregnant, I was so excited. It was about 30 minutes until closing time, so I got my fries and headed home. I got car sick a lot throughout this pregnancy, so I waited until I was home to start eating. Grabbing my first fry, it was a little cold, but I expected that from the drive. However, the next fry I tried to grab was frozen. They were all frozen and stuck together in a ball. I was livid, hungry, and just started sobbing. I rarely wanted Rally's before, but I will not go back, no matter how many fetuses try to force me. I have personally and successfully boycotted Burger King since I was a child, 6'8", because they put every condiment on my burger when my mom ordered it plain. Not the first time they messed up my order, but it would be the last. When I was a teenager, there was a roast chicken place that did the most amazing chips and gravy for exactly $2. Many of my friends and I would go there almost daily after school for $2 chips and gravy. After a year the price went up to $2.20. We just stopped going altogether because the title no longer rolled off the tongue. I mean, that's def petty, but the reality is their costs prob just went up and had to up the price to make ends meet. I have never eaten at a Quiznos because of a commercial they had on 15 years ago annoyed the crap out of me. Some screeching singing potato rat thing howling these Quiznos suubs, holy crap was that annoying. Almost as annoying as the girl I worked with at the time who thought it was hilarious to constant imitations of it. Vowed that I would never eat at one. Never have, never will. Apple, because of that stupid fricking WH@SACO girl. This is not a petty move. This is needed to tell Apple how stupid that commercial was. My town's local garbage service. Not because I don't like the garbage company, but because my town refuses to allow us citizens yard debris service, or standardized garbage cans or real recycling. The town's justification is I should use a burn barrel, but backyard burning is closed from the 1st of June till the 1st of October, so all summer I am supposed to let the debris pile up, except then I get a $200 fine for it. Now they are saying to take it to our local metro recycling plant, aka a 45-minute drive to pay $25 per can to have it composted. The garbage company has pushed for standardized bins, better recycling capabilities and yard debris, but my city doesn't want to pay for it. It's about $10 more a month. The biggest thing to me is that 1,000 people out of a community of 3,000 signed a petition for these things. At least 100 of us showed up to a city council meeting, where it was promptly rejected, and we were told to drop it. Not sure if this counts as a boycott since it's not directed to an entire company, but I used to refuse to buy food with sea salt in the name because I think it's more accurate to call it coarse-grained salt. Its origin doesn't matter. I eventually gave up on this because coarse-grained salt is good even if people did give it a stupid name. This might actually win the most petty award. Nice job. I boycott Firehouse Subs because they have, or at least, had when I last went there years ago, this thing where all the employees would yell welcome to Firehouse every time someone would come in. And usually not all in unison, either, so it was like welcome to Firehouse, welcome to Firehouse, welcome to Firehouse, welcome to Firehouse, every single time. It was quite obnoxious, not to mention embarrassing if you don't like having attention drawn to yourself. Moe's does the same thing. It's funny because the workers won't even bother to look at me when I walk in, I just hear welcome to Moe's from every worker who has their back turned to me. I love Moe's, though. Not sure if this is petty, but I refuse to buy, or even taste, the wine of a local vintner, because the wife of one of their winemakers is a rabid anti-vaxxer. I used to work with her and she harassed me over Facebook for 5 days because I shared a public measles alert. I didn't say anything about vaccines, just that there was someone in the area who had been diagnosed with measles. Apparently this meant I was attacking her and her family. I'm pro-vaccine, but according to her I harm her children by being nearby and only vitamin D drops can keep her babies safe. Like, dude, I haven't seen you in 6 years. Chill. No, I won't buy this wine, because it directly supports a bee who harms her children. Wendy's stopped selling a sandwich I really liked, the chicken cordon bleu. It was chicken with ham, Swiss, and Dijon mustard. It was the bomb. They stopped selling it in the late 90s and it took me 15 years to go back. Not sure how close it is, but Arby's has a decent chicken cordon bleu sandwich. I have a mental boycott list of every local company who has ever left a flyer under my windshield wiper. Nothing irritates me more. I also immediately leave any online store that presents you with a pop-up with options like click here to unlock an amazing coupon and makes you click a box like no, thanks. I hate saving money to make it go away. It is so disingenuous and patronizing that it makes me furious. I used to buy quite a lot of clothes from the loft but haven't shopped there at all since they started doing it. Click shaming. Rainforest Cafe. They kept yelling volcano whenever they served some dessert, which seemed to be every 3 minutes. It was so loud you couldn't have a conversation. I emailed the company, it was such a crappy experience. That's kind of how I feel about Texas Roadhouse. Every 5 minutes it's clap 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 ooh 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 attention Texas Roadhouse symbols about it being somebody's birthday Sometimes it'll happen 5 times in the half hour I'm sitting there and I literally cannot have a conversation with my family, but their food is so freaking good. I asked for an extra sauce packet at Arby's once. They charged me $0.25 for it. I gave them my quarter and stopped eating there for nearly 20 years. 25 years ago my dad got a coupon for free small fries with an order of any Arby's sandwich. They wouldn't honor it, claiming that only certain franchisees honored those coupons. The cost of an order of fries was probably a quarter back then, but they lost a customer for 25 plus years over that. There is a shop in my town that I visited very regularly after work and the same guy had been working the late shift for years. We were always very pleasant with each other and had many conversations. One night I went in and purchased at least half a dozen items. I had to walk home that night, about a mile away, and so I asked him for a bag to carry my stuff in. He said number when I asked why he went on a rant about how bad they are for the earth and all of that. Now, I was a sustainability minor in college and care deeply about our earth. I had never asked for a bag before because I had only ever gotten 1 or 2 items or had a bag with me, and I always reuse or recycle extra plastic bags. I explained all of this to him and he still adamantly and rudely refused. I was so mad about this that I never stepped foot in that store again. Should have called his boss. I don't think people appreciate when their workers do such stuff. Don't eat Barilla pasta because their head said, gay people can eat another kind of pasta. We won't ever use those couples in any ads. Thanks, I will. I've boycotted them ever since too, but I don't think it's particularly petty. Perfectly good reason to boycott. The KFC in my town didn't take debit cards, but they did have a convenient ATM right in the lobby that charged a $3 fee. I told them I'd pay the ATM fee once, but I'd never be back. Global KFC boycott. I haven't set foot in a KFC in 16 years because of a $3 ATM fee. I would never go to a certain restaurant in my city because one of the owner was really mean to me in HS. Frick you, Robert. I'm happy that you lost most of your hair. Panera Bread because they fricked up the lemon cookies. The good cookies from Paradise Bakery are dead, and it's Panera's fricking fault. Never a goddamn gain. Also, the blood orange lemonade is basically tang. This is so sad. Can we hit the C of Panera? My roommate said he refused to participate in high school pep rallies because they wouldn't have a pep rally for the baseball team. I refused to go see Russ live when I was at a festival where he was performing. I talked to a girl for a few weeks and she ghosted me. She loved Russ. I boycott Viva Chicken because the only Dairy Queen near me was priced out of its location and replaced by a Viva Chicken. This was 5 years ago and I am not over it. I stopped drinking alcohol because the governor of my state suggested increasing liquor taxes to fund his tax cuts for rich people and businesses. It didn't end up happening, but quitting alcohol has been nothing but a positive for me, so that's a nice silver lining to the story. For some reason, my state's governor has a vendetta against Yuengling. Straight up refuses to allow it to be sold in my home state for some political reason. There's a barber shop that will serve it if you give a $5 tip. I boycott Hobby Lobby because they opened a location in my town which caused my favorite craft store to go out of business. They had been there for decades, and when I went in on the last day of business the employees were crying. I handle logistics for our business, and I refuse to do business with a specific trucking company because when I see their trucks on the road they are always dirty. I refuse to consider a decent option for home and contents insurance because the company sponsors my team's main rivals. My entire family refuses to go to Steak and Shake because a Serb once spilled an entire glass of water on my baby's head and then laughed about it. He probably doesn't even work there anymore, but I refuse to go there because they hire drugged up idiots. Tried Steak and Shake once. It was busy so we thought it would be okay. The drive-thru took almost an hour. The food also wasn't great. If you can't make fast food, don't have a drive-thru. I boycott the local Exxon station in my hometown because, in a nutshell, they take advantage of people in their location. It's one of those the only gas station right off the main highway that people use all the time, so they jack up their prices. They have 8 pumps, and their convenience store is run down and dirty. The real kicker for me was the owners were vehemently against the opening of a new Royal Farms station down the road because it would ruin the rural aspect of our town and wouldn't be upstanding members of the community like we are. Even though they charge people ridiculous amounts for gas regularly and charge more for their gas when an ice storm left many in the area without power. Ford ran a really annoying set of ads for a while, the whole family yelling. Despite not knowing anything about cars, I vowed to never ever own one. The Chevy commercials these days with real people who are so obviously actors. I probably would never have bought a Chevy anyway, but this cements it. Obligatory, not me, but my grandma. Once when I was a youngster, we went to an Applebee's and I brought my favorite toy school bus with me. I left it at the Applebee's. When my grandma went back to ask about it, they told her they don't have a lost and found. She boycotted Applebee's for decades. In a small town like hers that can be a big deal. She carried this grudge on for decades. She has Alzheimer's now, and whenever I need to remind myself how much she loved me, I remember how she boycotted Applebee's for my toy school bus. I was setting up internet for my girlfriend and I's apartment and decided to go with that over Xfinity, strictly because of the Memesteens ads on YouTube. I wish I could be petty with my choice of internet provider. I boycotted all the sporting events at my college because they tacked on an athletic fee of $200 to the tuition without telling me beforehand. If it's a mandatory fee that everyone pays regardless of their participation or lack thereof, it's not a fee. It's part of tuition and should be included in the total tuition price. Tacking it on after the fact is like a dirty car dealer trick. Oh, you wanted lug nuts on those wheels? That'll be another $200. Also, the periodical room in the library was always locked during football games because the window in the periodical room overlooked the football stadium and people would go in there with food and drinks to watch the game for free. I needed those magazines and newspapers to write a report. I don't care about your dang football game. If you don't want people watching the game, just put up some curtains and close them. Take the money out of my dang athletic fee. I don't go to my local Burger King because when I worked there they treated me and everyone else like crap. So I say frick 'em. Not petty. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.